Man to my right, Downtown Joe, has said that his definition of life is that as long as his head was on a platter and he could still enjoy football, he'd want you to keep him alive, Terry Schiavo style, as long as possible, because football is the one thing he loves the most. And I'll let Joe introduce our next guest. Go ahead.
And if I need a reserve linebacker, it's Josh Brown that I want. Boy, what a hit. Join us in the studio this morning, two of the Seahawks' hardest hitters, defensive tackle Craig Terrill and our buddy kicker Josh Brown. Josh made that hit on Devin Hester you just heard, and that was something to behold. That's probably the hit of your career so far, huh, Josh?
So far, man, it's been a highlight to be able to tackle a guy like that.
Now, Craig is a hit maker of another sort. He's actually plays music and has already opened for Seal. He's got a pretty good guitar player in his band you might have heard of, Paul Allen, the guy who signs his paychecks.
Paul Allen plays guitar for you?
You suck up.
He does not play for me, that's for sure.
He doesn't?
Oh, we heard he was in your band.
Oh, no, I've played with his band before. So
okay.
I'd be in his band. I don't think he'd be in my band.
Okay. I think he'd be in the Beatles if he wanted to be, right?
Yeah.
The new Beatles. All right, welcome both of you guys.
Thank you.
Josh, I want to ask you first here. Let me move that.
Yeah, you're actually wide left on the microphone. I was
Yeah,
gonna
a
ask you
little
about
left,
that. Yeah.
I was.
A rarity. You missed an early field goal.
Yeah.
People couldn't believe it. And obviously...
Welcome to the show.
Let's talk about it.
People could not believe it, and then you come back and tackle Devin Hester, the best return man in the NFL.
And
now,
again, people couldn't believe it.
People couldn't believe it. And as I watched, I didn't know how astounding that is. Because I'm a good fan, but I'm not like Joe. Football isn't my life. But I watched and I heard the announcers. Everybody was going crazy. And then on the replay, I looked at it, and you made it look not that hard. Did you? You must have seen the replay a few times.
I've seen the replay a little bit. Yeah, I just kind of met him at the right time. It wasn't like a big crushing hit, but it was. He went right to the ground.
He went right to the ground. Did he know it was you?
Afterwards, he looked at me like, "You got to be kidding."
Oh no, because he knew it was you, and he was looking right past you.
Right.
He totally underestimated the sneakiness.
The
Totally.
sneakiness. That's right. I'm very sneaky.
Do you recall the moment on the field when you realized it was going to be you?
Yeah, no, I could see him coming from across the field, and as he kept outrunning some of our guys and juking and jiving through people, I just had a perfect beat on him and had a great approach and a good angle. And
now, who would have been flipped the most grief for this? The people who should have been protecting him, our players who should have tackled him. Who got the most grief, you think?
I'm sure he just did.
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, sitting in that meeting, their special team meeting, when they watched that, when Josh just laid him out there, all the guys like, oh, come on, man. You gotta be kidding.
Let's back that up and see that again. Can we, Coach?
That's something they rewind like 6
They'll
times.
rewind it
like,
a lot.
What are you doing? What are you doing here?
I'll get a T-shirt or something from it. But
Now, we don't get to sit in the room and watch you guys watch films, but it's a very important part of the game.
right.
And when you you're probably one of the coolest, calmest, most collected, really great guys that we know. If you miss something, do you dwell on it? Do you spend any time figuring out how, or do you just take a quick glance at the tape, see, my foot hit it that way, and do you just file it under things to remember, or
Right.
how do you deal with a tape like that?
Well, during a game, obviously I can't watch tape. I just got to kind of fix it in my head. So after that, I pretty much put it aside. I'll watch it on.
Don't you guys have little iPods with instant replay?
You would think with Paul being our
Yeah,
owner,
I know.
we would all
Let's
get
get
these
that up on
little-
the big board, Paul. Let's see how that
little
Well, it would be a
handheld-
Zune, actually.
Yes,
right
it wouldn't
here.
be an iPod.
But one of those things.
During practice, a lot of these guys are sweating pretty hard and hitting, and you're usually either kicking field goals or reading the comics or something.
At the coffee
Comics,
shop,
at the
whatever.
coffee
Yeah, exactly. Do you gain a little respect from guys like Craig and Lofa, for, hey, this guy can actually hit people too?
Well, I hope so. I don't really take any practice shots out there. They don't ever let me do anything. Coach Homer doesn't ever let me take any hits or hit on the dummies or anything. So
Josh is also one of the tough kickers in the league. What'd you play in high school? Like free safety or something?
free safety.
Yeah.
He was a hitter. He's not like a lot of the kickers.
He's got a half a dozen or so of those in him,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Remember when they rolled Efren Herrera out on the field a few weeks ago? That
That's
guy
right.
was not a physical specimen.
Who is this?
Efren Herrera came out that, remember?
Yeah. He was a different shape.
That guy could
didn't
tackle
he?
a taco bar, but
Yeah.
not an opposing ball carrier.
I want to ask both you guys a little about Sean Alexander. Obviously, he's been absent the last couple of weeks, and the team has played well. And Mo seems to be doing the job on the ground just enough to allow you, all of you, to look good, and Matt Hasselbeck to shine, absolutely, and the team's winning. You look at Sean. Of course, we see him on the sidelines because they always go to him when they're talking about him. You know, it's like, here's a guy who's in the white sweatshirt this week, and he's got his smile. He looks like he's concentrating, thinking about ways to help. He looks like he has a positive attitude and just hopes to get really healthy again just in time for the playoffs. The theory here is that, if he could be 100%, great. But I'm wondering, is he also grinding his teeth and upset about not playing?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, being injured in the NFL is the worst thing just because there's no way to feel any lower on your team just because you're not on the field contributing. And you're not on the practice field, with everybody else, and you see everybody working so hard, and you want to be there with the rest of the guys. So that's I've been there before. I was injured last year, and that's just a tough spot to be.
So is he wearing something to keep that smile in place? Is it sort of a
that's just Sean.
tooth guard?
That's just him.
It's just him.
He's always a happy-go-lucky kind of guy. I mean, he's always got a smile on his face.
Great attitude. Yeah.
Now,
The hardest part of that is keeping him from overdoing the rehab. I know at practice, this guy wants to go, 110% because he just wants to get on the field.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's got that deal with Coach. He's got to practice the whole week before he gets a chance to play. So, I mean, you don't want to speed anything up. You want to take your time and come back healthy. And if you're not going to benefit the team, take your time and get back when you are.
How much of an asset is having somebody like Mo, who's got a lot of game experience already? He's been, 4 years now in the league?
Right.
For him to be able to carry the mail while Sean gets enough time to recover, this may be the best thing that's happened to this team in a long time.
Oh, I think so, and I think the offense is allowing him to do the things. They're spreading it out. They're throwing the ball a lot right now. Defenses are backing off the line of scrimmage, and he's able to get through the holes. And he's fast. He's fresh. He hasn't been beat up as much as Sean right now, and he's got a lot of strength underneath him.
Spike and I talked about this last week. If you get to the playoffs, doesn't matter how you get there, and everybody comes together and is healthy at the end, who cares how well New England did all during the season, right? I mean, if some key players get injured there, and our players, a few have battled some injuries, right. And I was wondering a little bit about Hasselbeck grabbing his side there. They say his oblique is oblique.
He's
something
got pulled muscles on his right side.
Will that be all better by the playoffs?
Oh, yeah.
Good.
That heals up.
That heals fast.
Deion's ankle is going to be fine by the playoffs. Matt's
Deion looked
oblique.
perfect to me.
He did.
Deion just looked incredible like he always does.